Hello, my name is Cameron Thompson,
I'm Jason Wadsworth.
I'm Max Bagley.
and our presentation is on dunes growth and destruction. To start off with, we have the rack line. The rack line forms when vegetation is being created during mean high water line. When the rack line is formed, you have sediment being created by wind-driven processes.
When sand begins to accumulate on an existing rack line, vegetation then begins to grow out of the sand. The vegetation acts as an anchor for windblown sediment and provokes continuous dune growth.
These pictures are from Fort Walton Beach in Florida in the Gulf Coast. In the Gulf Coast, you have a very low tide dominated, so you don't have much of the rack line. But what rack line that is formed through wind. Also plants create small baby dunes, and in some cases you can see fish heads also creating small dunes.
Just as wind can influence the accretion and formation of dunes, it can also erode dunes by blowing sand off of them. This process is called deflation. Most of the time, deflation results in the formation of a feature called a blowout. A blowout is a bowl-shaped depression with a flat floor whose elevation is lower than that of the adjacent dunes. The floor of a blowout is flat because the sand is blown away until the top of the water table is reached.
This cross-cutting pattern shows this particular dune's history of accretion and erosion.
This clip shows evidence of the effects of salt spray has on vegetation. As you can notice, there's a vertical line that is cropping through the vegetation. Now as you look down the beach, you can see how other vegetation is growing on top of these dunes. This helps as an anchor to catch more sediment for the dunes to grow larger. This is a very healthy dune system.
New one's building up there.
Most beach ridges have overwash passes. Overwash passes are gaps that form when storm waves penetrate the ridge system, causing the ridges to split and form individual dunes. This process also causes sand to be deposited back shore of the dunes.
Recording. Continuation at the same.
Here behind some vegetation, there's a beach ridge that was created by long-term sediment accumulation on the rack line. Continued growth of vegetation on top of beach ridges makes them less prone to erosion. And walking down this overlook, you get a sense of how large these ridges can be, sometimes up to 20 or 30 feet.
Paleo Ridge. One of the tallest dune complexes in Tybee Island.
Here in front of the convention center on Jekyll Island, we see very unhealthy dunes.
Hard stabilization is an attempt by humans to artificially interfere with natural shoreline change. These structures reflect wave energy and increase erosion in areas adjacent to the hard structure.
These dead trees are nature's testament to the devastating effects hard stabilization can have on a natural beach.
As you can see, there's a new rack line forming along this beach. There will be many more years, if not decades, until a new dune system can start forming and a new beach can.
More human stupidity. High tide line. And then trees.
Wind waves have continuously eroded into the island. As you can see here, there's a large escarpment which has cut into the Pleistocene strata. This erosion can cause huge hazard risk to buildings and historical sites
And CJ
across the
scale.
island.
Ooh.
We would like to have a special thanks for Dr. Jackson, the 4-H Center, and the Department of Geology.